Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Let's see what we got going on here. We're getting to the chat line. I see nothing there yet. We're just loading up. As you can see, the Swiss here trying to pop up a little bit in there. You can see that's got a green going on there at the moment. Let's just take a look at the Chicago quad right there.
Is now available in the U.S.
Well, let's get rid of that.
This is an
There we go. And what do we see there? We see it's about the same. Is that? Oh no, it's a UUP. Okay, let's get back over there. That's the dollar index. You can see the strength in that this morning. Not a lot, just a little. Okay, there we go. Now we're seeing it. It's rolling over. Okay, so we have the dollar rolling over again. I guess after that little nervousness yesterday from the cryptocurrencies, and I hate to call them cryptocurrencies, the crypto assets. That's what I always relate to them as, is crypto assets. I think that put a little chill into the whole situation. And what is this? Oh, okay, I see how that is. So it's going like that. What do we have? Two of these? Oh, I see what it is. Let's get rid of that. There we are. So now let's lower that volume. There we are. So, and then let's get the fact check spreadsheet up there. It'll pop up in a second there. There we are. And so we can see the dollar is rolling over. We see this weakness right here. Whoop, what did I do wrong there? Let's just close that. No. And we'll reopen it up again. Somehow or another, it knocked out the old MACD there that Daniel follows. So let's just close it and restart it. Do you really want to quit? Yes, there we are. And then just restart it again. Move this over to grab a hold of it, right there. And there is the Swiss FX J4X platform coming back up again. There we go. And the end result is that the dollar is rolling back over again. I heard yesterday they were buying the metals and selling the cryptos. Sounds crazy to me. It sounds like a pure panic play. You just know that has to be a win-win, for the crypto people. You just have to know that one. I mean, that's a give me. I remember on the webinar yesterday we were talking about buying it. Don't be panicked about the big sell-off. What did it do? Bitcoin moved up $10,000 on the upside between us saying that and it happening. And so it moved up 25% after the webinar. And the cryptos have one technology that is unique, and that is that it is a product that can be what's the best word for it? I'm trying to find a simple word, but it's a parallel, side by side asset to modern financial markets with the quantitative easing. So it's kind of, no doubt it's got volatility. It's not a listed product. In other words, there's not a buyer of last resort except for private groups, just like the old days. So it's going to trade wild and woolly, just like the way stocks and bonds and everything else used to trade before the Federal Reserve went quantitative easing in 2008. So that is something to be thought about. In other words, you're seeing really pure capitalism when you see the cryptos. And so, yeah, can it get nuts? No doubt about it. It got down to 30,000. It's over a 50% drop from its all-time high, no more than, 3 weeks ago? Excuse me, I'm losing that voice there. Let's look at that, because it's just part of the asset class to pay attention to. All right. There's the Bitcoin. So they drive it down. This is no more than, I guess it was 60,000 3 weeks ago. And let's see if we can move this down a little bit. There we are. And so no further back than April 15th, I guess, 14th, right? Because there's the 15th. And so, yes, it was at 65,300. Right? And here we are at, so it's over 4 weeks now. So it's not 2 or 3 weeks, it's 4 weeks. It has fallen from 65 to almost 30. See, it got down to, I thought I saw a 30 trade at one point. They must have pulled it out. They're showing a low of 33,480. I could have sworn during the webinar we saw 30,000, and Daniel came in and said, "Look for 20,000." I was like, nah. I'll bet more like you'll see 40 before you see 20 in a heartbeat. And sure enough, by the end of that day, and right now even, that's how we used to do that on the trading floor. When someone said, "I bet it's going to, $20," and it's trading at 30 now since it came down from 50 or 60. And a lot of us would go, I'll tell you what, we'll take the bet. Bet it's going to $40 before it goes to $20. And then that trader, whoever threw that out there, goes, I don't know if I want to bet on that. Well, then don't say it. So I should have given Daniel the opportunity to make that bet. But anyway, that's where it's at. And you can see here it's coming back up, and it wouldn't surprise me if it closes right around in this area here. I would assume money would think that that is like free money being thrown out the door. And I could have sworn we saw 30,000 during the webinar. But you can see how the exchanges like to pull data out of these products, change lows, change highs, change closes overnight, which makes close to no sense to me, but they do it. Anyway, that's where it's at. Now we'll jump back to the currency marketplace again. And the Forex right there, and we'll take a look at the euro. You can see the euro is using that dotted line of the last, 7-8 months. We've been watching that dotted line since what? Since January of 2001. All right, so what is that, like 7 months ago? Where are we at? January, February, March, April, May. We're in May, so it's 5 months ago. So we've been watching that dotted line for 5 months. We've been watching it bounce off that area back in March, early March, late February, mid-February, and January. We saw it was bouncing off of that line. And that's why we put that line there, because it just seemed to be a place. And then it bounced off of it just about right here back in late April. Then you can see in early May it hit it a few times and fell down. And now it's starting to establish itself as a support. So that is the action we're seeing there with the euro. Heading over to, where's cable? There's cable. You can see cable there. We're flirting with a little daily sell as we speak. We'll see how well that holds up throughout the day. It is, in a weekly buy. It's been in a daily buy since somewhere around here. Oh, somehow or another we left that up there. Let's remove that and put it in the right spot now. Right there's the daily buy. It flirted. What did it do? Oh, it did go into the sell. I guess that's what it is. It went into the sell here, and then it went back into the buy right there. And it's been a, let's see, let's change that color there. You can see it's been a sloppy action. We keep on thinking even the remote firmness tells us that it's trying to go up. It's holding on to that 41, 42 area. We'll see how that plays out. It's going to be a challenge. They're going to hit it hard. Money still is not running into England, but it's definitely firming up, and it's been firming up, and that's why we've been a very bullish opinion, not from the math as much as just about the logic of it all. The Commonwealth, location, being on the edge of Europe. We only see it a very positive. 2 times now they're out of European Union. Now they have 2 times the volume of population that the Chinese have. So again, I don't understand why people are not singing the song of Commonwealth. There's 2 billion people in the Commonwealth. Why they're not running towards that compared to Communist China, who is reducing imports, and the companies that come into China are getting less of an opportunity to sell their items to the population. It's going to turn out to be a pig in the poke, as they used to call around the farms here. In other words, it's not going to work out as the way everybody fantasizes. Like, oh my God, there's 1 billion Chinese. We're going to be able to sell them this, that, and the other thing. Not as long as there's communists running the place. No, it's not going to work that way. Just isn't going to work that way. I don't know why anybody wants to pretend it does, but that's the way our socialist Democrats are here in the States. They have these weird fantasies about how commerce works. Let's go to, I mean, they follow Engel, Marx, and Lenin, and it's awful hard to believe that they can take themselves serious. All right, anyway, let's jump over to the Turkish lira right there. Looking at it first through the dollar. Let's give it a refresh. There it is right there. You can see there's a little green dot in there at the moment with the red dot, so the volatility is starting to emphasize itself. You can see here the daily buy is trying to get into it and hold. So we're above the line there of the zero area here. See right there. Oh, you can't see that. There we go, right there. So you can see here, we're just above the zero line right there. We're in the weekly buy. So there is strength. We're looking for it to go up to these dots there. Calculated through the action we saw from this movement right here. Right there. That's why we have this big yellow box. Because we believe that it's going to go to the yellow dots. That's the way the math always works. Let's see. This would be the first time ever I haven't seen that math work that way. And we're just going to keep on watching it until one or the other happens. And there it is right there. That is the euro against the, let's refresh that. This is the euro against the Turkish lira. And you can see it slid into a sell there. And it's a week ahead of the weekly buy on against the dollar, Turkish lira. And you can see it was in a nice ride up until here. And now you can see it's trying to get into the buy side, showing also a volatility signal, and you can see it's above the zero line there. Alright, let's see what it looks like over here on J4X. Right there. There's the dollar against it. And it hasn't started to break through the line there on that compared to the way we have it on our, Chicago quant. See, right there. Then let's take a look at it through the euro. There it is right there. Bingo. As you can see there, that is breaking up, which again, the euro Turkish lira is a much more predictive chart. And again, reiterate, and that is that it just doesn't give us enough trades, or we would just forget about the dollar one. The dollar one actually gives us more trades. It's less accurate, or it's behind. Let's say it's not less accurate. It's behind the Turkish Euro-Turkish pairs trade. The Euro-Turkish pairs trade is much more indicative of what's going to happen. It's usually a day ahead, or a week ahead when it came on the weekly, the type of thing. But the problem is that the way we talk about hard delta, and there's no real binaries or options on this. It's really hard to trade those things in this product. So I'm assuming most people who are trading this are people who deal with Turkey, and it's better to give them the insight of what's going on versus the lack of insight. All right, let's see, what do we do here? Move that one over to there. All right, now we jump over to the Canadian. Let's see what the Canadian is up to. Right there like that. And let's find the Canadian. Canadian against the dollar. Right there. Put it up on the Chicago quant at the same time. Oop, on the chart there. We're going to give a sneeze. Hold on a second. There we go. Sneezes are done. Alright, now let's look at the Canadian. Excuse me there. And you can see here the line is moving up, which is interesting. The strength there. Over on the Chicago quant, it's a second day in a buy. Let's put that line in there. We didn't put that line in there yesterday. Which, to me, we look at it and we think, okay, the oil market is going to get a little weaker. So we'll see what that is. And I do notice it closed in a daily sell yesterday. There we go. And then we take a look at, we have a new tool we look at, and that is the euro against the Canadian. Right there. You see the strength in that. I would imagine it's dipping down, maybe. No, it's showing. Oh yes, right. It's showing strength in there too. Now this normally, I think we looked at it on this type of basis, and that uh, is it? I guess oil went up all through that. Let's take a look at oil, and then when this starts to occur, it's trying to tell us that it's going to be weak. I'm assuming that's what they're trying to tell us there. So let's take a look at the oil market itself. There's the oil market, right? So it's been it topped out a little bit right here. We didn't get into a sell. Did we get in a sell? No, we got in a sell off of this one, not this one right here. So you can see the pressure on the product there. At the same time, you see this was trying to lift up. So it's obviously the indication is when Canadian is moving up and this is moving up, it's showing us the weakness in the oil market. And then what we normally used to do is look at the NASCAD, Looney trade. Right, there's NASCAD, right there. And obviously when that's moving down, that's indicative of a weakness in the oil market. See that? Now this, in this case here, this was heading down, and I guess it's the other way around. This must move up, and I guess oil should go down, but we're not seeing that there. Okay, so usually that's how that works. Now let's just take a look at it through Chicago Quad, right there. Where are ya? Right there. Okay, so it's been moving down for the last couple of days, and oil's been moving down. And then this whole move here back in mid-April, right? So we'll take a look at the oil market since mid-April. Let's see, mid-April. Where's mid-April? Let's go back to that one more time. Oh, not that one. That one. So that's, oh, mid-February. I'm sorry, mid-March. Mid-March, it was moving down, gave it a pop, and kept on trying to move down, and that's, so I guess that's what the coordination is. See, the slope is down. And same thing with the NASCAD. Same situation. It's been moving down. In this case here, it did top out in our work in April 21st, 22nd, April 22nd. Started to show pressure in there. And let's take a look at it again here. April 22nd. It was interesting. It did the same thing for the 21st, about 4 or 5 days down, and then it made a nice move up. So the NASCAD kind of went the wrong way. And so did, obviously, let's go over to it. Obviously, same thing with the Euro CAD. Right. Where's the Euro CAD? And then we have it here. There it is, Euro CAD. So the Euro CAD went into that sell in the mid of April and moved down. And what we saw was the same type of action in some sense right here. It started it and failed at it, and oil moved up against it. So the pairs trade matching up to it didn't work at all. You know, because it went, let's just emphasize it again now. You can see it just stayed on the downwardly slope. Again, obviously the best thing of all is to just follow the oil. Yeah, indeed. All right, now what we're doing is, let's see, we're in May, in mid-May, so we want to take a, probably want to change this over to the July contract. Now let's just take a look at that real quick here. Oh, that was bad. Wiped that all out, didn't I? CL. Oh, no. Okay, so we have to add it. CL. But we had July in there. Look up. And that'll be in the ends. While we're here, we'll probably put in the Q's for August too. And there it is, N. N. And then the Q's. I might as well throw the SEPs in there too. There we are. Remember the May contract expires, I think, like, if not tomorrow, it's like Monday. They have they because of the delivery system, they have that situation where they need to roll them like that. Now there is that. Now let's put in, there it is right there. and we'll change the put the name up there as, and then tonight everybody will be seeing that, and it is July, or we used to refer to it on the floor as 4th of July. July crude. There we are. And you can see here, same situation going into the cell on, that's the 19th, let's fix that. Settings, 24/7, close. Still not updated, that's interesting. Not sure what that's all about. That is the pressure we're seeing at the moment when we're not seeing the contract trade, which is odd. And you can see here it matches up the sells and the buys all are fine still. They pretty much, to a great extent, trade this thing. Move that over. Trade this thing very uniformly, you know, in spreads and so forth. So that is there. Let's file, save workspace, save as, bingo. All right. And that's where we're at. And you can see we're actually flirting with the weekly. It's just on the edge. And let's just double check how we are looking at this. Style. Yeah, so we're not using the 7. In this case here, it's a gas line 5 super. So it has the 6 plot is a 7. That's what that is. It's a 7 gas line. But we're not running that. But, you know, we could do this, you know, since no one's around really, it's kind of quiet. I'll do the research. I'd like to see what it looks like. Let's see what the 7 has been showing us. We'll make it a dashed line like that. Let's contract that a little bit and see if we can get a flavor of that. Now that's interesting. Look how flatlined it is. I mean, it just stayed in that buy. Well, we had that long. Oh, I see. We put it into the weekly buy. That's why. We didn't put it into the daily. That's what it was. Okay, so let's just turn that off. Oh, I guess not. Maybe not. Let's just go back. I forgot how this works sometimes. Yeah, just showing the strength. And let's widen that out, see how close it is to the 0 line. It's not. It's just flatlined. Yeah, so this could be just a very short-lived weakness. And we'll see how they both play out. All right. Let's see. I'm just going to turn that off. Invisible. There you go. And save. All right, now let's jump over to, we were on the current, yes, let's go back to the currencies. And what we'll do is, what we do is normally we look at the energy complex. So let's just take a look at natural gas. There is natural gas. You can see that weakness that's kicked in there. And again, the weekly is holding up pretty firm, so this is going to be short-lived if they start to get this thing back into the buy. Now that was a pretty good sell-off. I mean, that's off to that wild gap. And we'll see how that gets rolling. Now what is this? This is June also. So we must be getting close to the expiration on this. But this is a little different because of the delivery situation. So I don't think they expire on Friday, you know, Friday tomorrow or Monday. But I'll take a look at the delivery on that. I think it goes a little bit further. But we will switch this into the July contract. All right, now, matter of fact, no one's asking any questions. It's kind of quiet. I'm willing to do the research, really. Let's take a look and see. I am curious about this now. Let's see. Now, what is that? That's April. No, so we have to add. Let's add NGs. Not NDs. Not Notre Dame. Look up. There we are. And let's see what we got here. I guess Q is August. Let's see what the N is. Let's see what July looks like. Let me go look at a couple contracts here. If it's going to be a quiet day, I'll do the research right in front of everybody. I think it's well worth it. And Q's. People can learn from it. I do. Q's. And then let's take a look at the SEPs. Well, you have to imagine that there's got to be some good action in, like the further out months, just because of the nature of the product. All right, so let's just take a look at July and just see how the daily is acting. They did the same thing. They gapped July, and it took. Matter of fact, what's interesting is it didn't go into a sell that day. There, look at that. It was a day later here, whereas in the front month it did that. Now let's move over to. Oh, what did I do there? Okay. Oh no, wait. Something went wrong there. Let's try that again. N. There we are. Now what is the malfunction here? Oh wait, we're in NQs. That's what the problem is. Close. Not gas. Okay. Where is that at? Natural gas, right there. Okay, so there it is. That's the, which contract is that? That is the July contract. You can see it didn't go into the sell that day, whereas the front month did. Now let's go take a look at August and see what kind of effect that was. There's August. Same situation. The histogram is still plus there, and we've got a green dot too. And then let's try September and see what September does. But they're all uniform, which is nice, So we're not missing anything by not looking at the back months more, Yeah, see all that. So now we'll just go back to the June. There it is. Yeah, and see how the histogram was minus 0.0010, and the plot 4 was 20, minus 20, and minus 10. Interesting. All right, now let's see what else we go from here. That's the energy. So what we do is we go take a quick look at the other pairs that we watch. Now we'll go to ruble. That's nice. Mr. Biden is becoming much more comfortable with the Russians. I know that they're always angry, the Democrats, against the old Russians. They just, they really blame the Russians for not succeeding in socialism and communism. They really get angry about that whole thing. I know that sounds really strange, but the Democrats here in the United States, Ted Kennedy, it started with Ted Kennedy in 1980 in particular. The Democrats have always had communists and socialists involved in their party, and as high up as the Vice President of the United States. In modern times, Brenner, the head of the CIA, was a registered communist. I know that must sound really strange. Vice President Wallace under Roosevelt was a registered communist. And so, the Democrats have always had socialists and communists in their parties, and they hide it well, and the media hides it. They don't really talk about it too much. They pretend that they're, just two ideas, nothing major, very synonymous to each other, blah, blah, blah. It's not. It's false. It's basically capitalism and freedom versus command and control economies with a totalitarian twist. And so that's what the Democrats do, whereas the Republicans are more of freedom and freedom and constitution and capitalism. And the Democrats over here get really angry with the communists and the socialists for screwing it up. In other words, they blame them for not having a socialist communist world, outdoing the capitalism. And so that's why we have these really strange things going on now, in particular again with Mr. Biden, because he's one of them, and and the media won't tell you about it. So you always scratch your head. You're not sure what's going on. It's like, what? What's going on? I don't understand. What, what, what is, what's all this stuff about socialism? I thought Americans are supposed to be a bunch of cowboys and capitalism and freedom. It's like, yeah, we're always dealing with it, and it's just that's the way it goes over here. So anyway, there's the ruble. We're expecting the ruble to move down as things move along positively. Mr. Biden opened up that pipeline for them yesterday, so a lot of people are saying, so you take a pipeline away from us, but you're willing to let the Russians have a pipeline. See, that's that. They talk one way and they do other things. Or, they run right towards the communists in China. They love the communists in China, but they say nasty things about them at the same time here and there. But they open up the laws in their favor. I understand that they're giving all the patents. Biden is offering China all the patents for the COVID viruses for free to China. People are like, what's going on? And then since the media won't talk about it, they go, oh, well, it must be just like fake news, or it must be just a rumor. Strange. Very strange. All right, anyway, let's jump over to Japanese yen. You see it's hanging out in 3 days in the sell. You see the weekly's flirting with getting into the buy, so that's interesting. That can be indicative of more strength in the dollar. We go over to the Mexican peso. Right there. And you can see that's battling its way into the firm side of things for the last 2 days. Volatility signal here. Today it is in the daily buy, but it's not exactly exploding. Really tight market. You can see the weekly since, what is that, back in March, late March, we went into the weekly sell up in the 2075, 2065 area, 2094 area, I don't know, something like that. And then you can see it, it fell almost down to 19 and a half. Nice tight range, really. Really nice tight range. And that's what you want. You want your currencies to be slow and consistent and less volatile. And so you can see here, they're trying to get some strength into it in both places, the daily and the weekly. What's it? It's just about there, isn't it? Look at that. It's minus 0.01, just about climbing into the buy there. Then we zip over to, I bet this was really strong yesterday. That is the Turkish lira, right? Oh yeah, not Turkish lira, I'm sorry. The South African rand. There it is. Now, yesterday you can see they took it down to 13.97. Is that one of the lowest lows we've seen in a while? 13.96. And the lows here were 13.95. So I guess it didn't do too well. It didn't make a new low. And you can see it's trying to bounce up, but it's been in the sell for the last couple of days since right there at 14, what was the close there? 14.09. So it's and it's still in that weekly sell since the, where's it at? This area here, the 1490s, 1480s, something like that. Firmed it on the close there. Is that right? Does that jump up? Yes. Okay. So that's what it is right there. So went into the sell that week. You can see the line dipped down really well, and was underneath. Let's make that wider. There we are. You see it just started right off the beginning of that week, and it just chugged its way down in the sell, just pushing and pushing and pushing, and joining in with the daily sell. And it was a nice winner chicken dinner. Right now, we zip over to oh, I see what we do. We go from here, from the South African rand, we slip over to the metals market. Let's take a look at that. That is wild because silver tried to get into a sell yesterday. I mean, it tried twice and then closed up and then closed down, and it was all over the place. Let's take a look at silver to start off with now that I'm talking about it. And right there, gold was much more tenacious. And you can see here, it got down. It was in a sell at one point here last night, before the close here in the States. And then it popped it up again, and then you can see the weekly's holding up really well. Oh, you can't see. Right there. You see here, the weekly is doing really well here. It's holding up in its buy. You see this action we're seeing there, and that's the way it's playing itself today. It's trying to get into a sell again. I mean, silver. Robin was saying about the silver. It just keeps on trying. It fails, but it keeps on trying. Let's see. Let's take a look at gold. Gold, on the other hand, as much as it got close to getting near a sell yesterday, it failed at it, and they really brought it back up very firmly. And you can see that the whole thing has been very solid. Matter of fact, it's been in a buy since the 1792 area, no 1815 area close, and we've gotten as high as yesterday of 1891. So it's all been very firm in there. Now let's take a look at copper. There it is. Now copper is kind of interesting. It's pushed itself. What is that? Move that other way. There it is. Did it get into a buy there that day? That is no. It's a minus. So that is like. What is that? That is no. So that goes over there too. So no, neither of those belong there. So we'll remove that and remove that. And so it's been in the sell since here, and chopping around and playing. But we're in a weekly buy. It's not. They need the stuff. They need copper. There's no doubt about it. It's not happening. That's all it comes down to in the end. It's just not happening. So they're going to try to push it down. It went up to the 80s. I guess it was 80s. The high there is 80, 90. Almost 81. And the day after that is 80, 35. Again, less than 81. And we went down into the the 60 area. Right there, that's 60, is it? Yeah, that line is 60. And so, they're trying to knock it down, but they're not doing the best of jobs, especially with this weekly. It is touching the time manifold. You can see that. Let's widen this for you. You can see it is playing with the time manifold. There's that weekly quant signal there. Move those numbers down like that. There we are. And you can see that pressure. We'll see how they play that over the next 24 hours. And then tomorrow's Friday, so it'll be very interesting to see how they close this thing out for the week. And the pressure has been for like the last 2 weeks in this product. And that's where we are with that. Let's save that. And copper. Let's see, where is that? Right there. There we go. Now, so we did the metals here. Did the 3 metals. And what we do is we drift over to the cryptos from here. So let's see what we do. Is we're opening up. We'll show you. We did at the very beginning. We were talking about the cryptos. We're going to open up the stock combo, and then at the same time we're going to look at we'll look at Bitcoin again. To me, the cryptos have a product that the more. The U.S. government talks craziness, Mr. Biden and so forth doing crazy stuff, the more the cryptos have to have value to it. Now, this is yesterday, and I know we were right, I guess, where are we at now? We're right here on the webinar, right? And that's 9:08. And then, I guess that's right, yeah, 9:08. And then, so, here on the webinar yesterday, in the 9s, they were knocking them down, and they took, Bitcoin down to like 30,000. The chart today is only showing, where's it at? Let's go to Bitcoin here. It's only reflecting 33,000. But, you can see it came off those lows and lifted up and played with the 40s. As long as we're going to have irresponsible governments, and we're going to have this quantitative easing, and they're just going to be throwing money out the door, and so forth and so on, the cryptos are going to be valuable because of their technology. They're a whole new asset class. It's very existential. They don't have a buyer of last resort of the central banks and the Federal Reserve. What scared them yesterday was supposedly, I guess, China was seriously promoting, I guess, the cryptos, and now they're going to outlaw the cryptos, and they're going to have their own crypto. Like as if they're real, in other words, I think the Chinese are going to a point where they realize, X knows that this game that's been going on for like the last couple decades is over with. The U.S. is, might be a hiccup right now where the U.S. is moving towards China at the moment with our socialists, but that's not going to last long. The next Congress, which is a year away, is going. They're going to do nothing now. They're going to they're going to fight to do nothing so they can't get blamed for things. But it's not working. Pennsylvania just had an election yesterday, I guess it was, the day before, and the results yesterday were just devastating again. If it wasn't for Mr. Trump being pushed out by some nebulous tricks at 2 or 3 in the morning, the landslide of the Republicans across the nation were enormous. Incredible amounts of states and houses won Republican seats everywhere. California even lost 2 Democrat seats to Republicans. It was a wipeout. Not one Democrat, not one Republican lost a seat in the House of Representatives. It was a landslide. The media is just hiding it all the time. And every little election that occurs, Republicans are winning outrageous numbers. And so the Chinese know that the Republicans are going to take power again, and this time more than likely because of how, let's say, disingenuous the Democrats were. The Republicans are not going to turn a blind eye. We don't like to really criminalize politics here in the States. Only the Democrats like to do that. And so I think the problem is going to be for the Democrats is that the Republicans are going to use what the Democrats have been using, and they're going to probably charge them for doing illegal things. Normally, Congress people can get away with doing illegal things greatly, and there's no real punishment to it. It's very rare. I mean, you literally have to do some outrageous stuff, but at this point, the Democrats are doing outrageous stuff, and they're not being punished for it, and that's going to stop. And I think that's what we're seeing in China, and the policies. People are starting to realize that the Chinese economic structure is moving towards in-house companies. In other words, Chinese companies domestically are being given more opportunity to sell to the population, and they're removing more and more foreign companies out of that position. And so I think that the writing is on the wall, basically, and we're starting to see some money managers over here talk about it, and the media is not really happy about saying anything about it. So you're not going to be hearing it on Bloomberg and CNBC and these other things and Reuters and AP. They're not going to be putting that stuff out, but that's what's happening. And so the crypto situation yesterday was a panic that the Chinese were walking away from it, so that one central bank that was supportive of it is now not supportive of it all of a sudden. And so you're seeing this is what a market looks like when you don't have the Federal Reserve or the central banks supporting the product. It can go up and down a lot more wildly. And so you see it dropping over 50% over a 4-week period and so forth. Now we go back to the Coinbase. That's the exchange. You can see right from the bottom where I was talking about it yesterday, that they don't give up on the cryptos. The cryptos are not going anywhere. They may push them down, but it's just a buying opportunity, and sure did turn into it more than even I expected. I thought maybe we'd see it close at 36,000 or 35,000 from 31 and 30. I think it was 30,230, I think, and you can see it on the recording, showing you that on the chart, and now it's disappeared altogether. The exchange has taken that data and shifted it around. You can see here it's firmer again today, and let's take a look at the stock on a daily basis. Here we're getting more and more data. Matter of fact, look at that. The daily, we don't have enough data for weekly yet, but look at the data on the daily. It showed us a volatility signal, and that's today. It is climbing into the buy, and it's above the 0 line now for 2 days there for the gas 3. So that is what it is. Now what is that? Oh, that was a circle for the sell. That's right. And so it's turning into a buy here. All right, let's see, where are we at now? And there is no question, so that's okay. We can just keep on exploring. Doc will go through his magical mystery tour here. All right, that is the Coinbase. So now let's jump over to the actual stock indices themselves. We can look at, as a matter of fact, we have a few here we can look at. Like there's the NASDAQ 100. Dukascopy refers to that as the Matter of fact, Robin was saying that he uses a foreign service, and he was saying to me, "What is the Tech 100?" I said, that's the Nasdaq 100. That's what the old name of it was. So it wasn't. It's not that the like Dukascopy or someone like that has changed the name of it. That's the old original. It was the Tech 100, because at one time it was just all tech, biotech, and technology companies. And so you can see here on Dukascopy, right there, Tech Index 100. That's the Nasdaq 100, and that's what that is. And you can see here, they're pushing it down into the cell. You can see it here, same situation. We're having problems, and now it's starting to try to climb back up into the buy the last couple of days, and then you see this red here, but it's still holding on by the hair of its chinny chin. And then we'll show you our daily has been in the daily buy, I guess back in here, somewhere along the line. I guess it was right there. It went into the buy, and it gave us this stuff here, and then they sell it down. It's still in the buy. The weekly's in the sell. You can see the 5, that's what the blue line is, the 5, and then that's the 3, the gas line 3, the green and the white. And then we go over to here, the futures contract, which is a 20, that only trades like 7 hours a day, that product. That's basically it's a stock ETF. But when looking at it here, you can see it's closing the daily buy yesterday, and it's showing the firmness. And then you can see it tried to climb into a buy here, but failed at it. And this is a 24-hour thing, but we are in the weekly sell for a full week. And so this could be a short-lived bounce. We'll see how that plays out. Then we look at the S&P 500 right there. That is trying to climb into a weekly sell. You can see it's in a daily sell from here, and you can see it's trying to get going. We're getting some volatility signal right there, and that's ticking away, showing us that. And then, they got rid of the volatility signal. I just refreshed it. And so then we should do that with the NQ. See what the NQ looks like. Give it a refresh. Okay, so let's go back to the S&P right there, and then let's take a look at it through the ETF itself right there. Now where is it at? Where are you? Where did you go? Not there. Okay, so we're going to have to put it in there. So let's go find it. Let's go and put it right there. Let's put in that format. SPY. There we are. We'll put the weekly in. SPY. Alright, so it's doing the same thing. It's playing with the weekly sell. Let's give it a refresh that way. And that way. And let's widen this out. Make this wider there. Yeah, and let's get rid of Mr. McPhee. He's locked up now. They locked him up again. He's a crazy boy. And so there we are there. You can see it closed in the daily buy yesterday, and it's holding firm there today, still lifting up a little bit. But we got our weekly going into a sell, so we'll have to watch this action, the way it's curving. If this thing does not get going on the upside, then I'm assuming that it'll close in the weekly sell, and the pressure will really be on this thing. And you can see here that was a daily sell right there. And they clocked it yesterday. So that was Monday? No, that's Tuesday. They gave us a daily sell, and they clocked it down hard on Wednesday. And then it closed in a buy yesterday, and it's lifting up a little today. So, and that is the S&P 500 looked at through the stock side of it, of just U.S. trading itself. Like maybe about an hour ago, an hour and 19 minutes ago, it started trading. And I mean, it does trade in the over-the-counter market or on an electronic market, but it's not very liquid. And then at 8 o'clock our time, half hour before my webinar starts, or this webinar starts, they start trading it in a much more organized effort. So you can, again, the volume is nowhere near there, but it's definitely better. Let's put it that way. And so then there's the Dow Jones Industrial Average doing the same gig. And that's also trying to roll over, like the Tech 100 and the S&P. Now let's take a look at that through the futures, which trades 24 hours basically. Right there. And you can see that product doing the same thing, showing a weekly weakness. And in this case here, let's give it a refresh. It is up firmer than it was yesterday's close. And you can see that, you know, they went into the sell here and then it fell down there. So we'll see what they do today. I mean, I think that, you know, in many ways, I wonder if the cryptos are leading the equities. You know, it almost has that feel to it. You know, they're seeing like, oh, okay, they're not killing the cryptos, so if they're not killing the cryptos, maybe we can feel a little bit more comfortable. There are people coming onto these channels and talking about how it is a bull market and you just got to buy the weakness constantly. And then the last but not least, we'll look at the Russell 2000, which has kind of replaced the NASDAQ 100 as the weakest index. Now, the NASDAQ 100 is the strongest index. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average is doing a really good job holding on firm this year. I think it's plus for the year compared to the rest of them. So, I mean, you know, the Dow, now Dow has 6 out of the 30 stocks, 6 of them are the USA Tech 100 or the NASDAQ. So that's even more curious in its nature. And you can see here, this is the Russell. Now we can probably remove that. Earlier this morning, it was minus right there, and you can see here now it's 0 point, just went to 20. Now it went to 13. It was plus 30 a few seconds ago. Plus 17, as you can see the box changed, plus 20. Plus 27, plus 23. We measure minute movements. You can see here pretty firm. The weekly's been in the sell since up here. You know, it's not the most magical. It fell from the 23. It was a 22 70s and 60s and 50s and 40s down to the 21, 24, about 100 points, 100 and change. And then it rallied back up in that daily buy. The volatility signal, let's give that a refresh. That little red dot was not there. And it went into the daily buy. And they obviously took some data out of there at the exchanges, and they, you know, gave us a red dot. And then so you can see here, you know, it's moved up nicely, but it's in a weekly sell, and now you see the weakness kick out of it. We'll see if it can even challenge that high with it in a weekly sell like this. We'll see how they play that out. And so there is the stock indices. So we really get a good flavor of where money is going. Well, if anybody has anything to look at, just give us a yell. I know we're coming down to the end, and it's Thursday, and everybody seems to be like on walkabout today. That's quite all right. That's the way it goes. They can always go tune in on the. I always notice that too. Here's Robin. Let's see what Robin has to say. But I do notice that there are times where that happens. Hey, Robin, what's cooking? Yeah, he gets June cattle and June hogs, and I sent him Augie doggies too. Yeah, cattle. Yeah. No, just June's. But I sent him an extra one because of I sent also August cattle with it. Yeah. I'll double check right now. Let me just double check. So, I guess I could say goodbye to the traders here this morning. I don't think it's, let's see, how long has it been on? I have had, let me see how many minutes it's been working there. Yeah, go for it. Alright, so we got about a couple more minutes then. Alright. So what else can we look at here? We've seen, we've looked at all the forex pretty well here. We've looked at the commodities complex, and we've looked at the stock indices and the cryptos, which is really important. Like I said, I really see the cryptos as important and retro at the same time. I find it totally fascinating. Totally fascinating. Cryptos as a basically old style, I guess you could say. Really, it really is old style. It's before central banks and the Federal Reserve became the buyer of last resort. The exchanges are just not that anymore. Those days are gone. The managers, the hedge fund managers, the all the retirement fund people, all that stuff has disappeared as the buyer of resort. Those days are gone, and more gone. That's just the way it is. So, what should we call today's webinar? Anybody care to have an opinion? Well, we have to come up with something here. We talked about everything. How about the South African rand? We could do that. How about we'll put that up there because we did talk about that pretty, consistently. Let's see. We'll call this rand versus gold. Maybe something like that. I like that because it's kind of fun to see the metals, or just rand versus metals. I think that's so cool when we can see things like that cross over. There we go. All right, traders. The Singing Trader is out of here. We're going to catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow is TGIF. Thank goodness. It is Friday. All right. Happy trails to you. Until we meet again, which will be tomorrow. Happy trails to you. To all my cyber trading friends. Ta-ta for now. Happy trails to you. To all my cyber trading friends.